as we get ready for the
Hey,
strong
so
back to
it's John
retract.
here in
At first, it
Firing
will
Room
move
1,
just a
and
couple of degrees,
got
and then we'll
just
see it
5
swing
minutes
open
until the
completely the
launch
moment of
of the
liftoff.
Crew
That
8
strong back provides access to Falcon
NASA
9's fueling
mission,
lines and
flying
umbilicals
in
for both prop load and the different
a
gases being
Falcon
loaded on
9
board.
and a Dragon,
We'll continue to
Crew
check through a
Dragon.
couple more fueling milestones, including one around the 2-minute mark before flight, where we will hear that the liquid oxygen is finished on board the second stage.
So while we're waiting for them to finish loading fuel, we got a countdown of our own going on. Do the strong arm retract.
And we did just hear that call out. Dragon is in terminal count. The onboard computers now are taking control of this spacecraft. The first stage will finish liquid oxygen loading in about 3 minutes.
It's always neat when you transfer
second stage LOX loading
control
1
to a
minute later.
spacecraft because it's its own autonomous deal.
Strong back retract has started.
It's like a living, breathing dragon, pun intended. But one of the things that we're doing a countdown on is our GoFundMe for Firing Room 1. You can see it here. And what we're doing with this is raising money to, first of all, transfer some Super 8 millimeter footage that my father both filmed and also his best friend filmed on base at Kennedy Space Center during the Apollo and Skylab missions. If you go into the support Firing Room 1, launching humanity into the future GoFundMe page, you can go down and look at our story. But what we're initially raising money for in the GoFundMe is to transfer my father's 4 8mm reels of 4 launches from the Kennedy Space Center filmed on base, Apollo 16, 17, and Skylab 1 and 2. He filmed Skylab 1 by himself. It was the only launch that he had the day off because he was on the launch team for Apollo or Skylab 2, which was supposed to be a few days later, and it turned out to be about 2 weeks later due to the issues with Skylab losing its heat shield and solar panels. But this film or this footage looks pretty good. We haven't seen it since 1985 or so. We sealed it up so it won't get any mildew, so we're hoping it's in really good condition. The transfer procedure for this is going to be done by the George Eastman Museum here in Rochester. Their film preservation labs. They have a 2K transfer capability for Super 8 millimeter tape. So one of the founders of Kodak is their museum is going to be doing the transfer for us. Assuming there's no cleaning that needs to be done for that, it's going to cost about $500 to do the transfer. Some of the more expensive transfer stuff we have to do from media that my father had was slides, such as this slide here of Apollo 17 during its rollout. He has up to 500 slides from that era of home life. Some, but most of them are of the Kennedy Space Center, both shots like this and also just around the base, like the buildings at the time and other things that he would take pictures of driving into and out of work. And as you know, he worked in the firing room, which is where some people at Kennedy Space Center are getting really excited because we're only less than a minute away now. About a minute. But just to finish up, you should check this GoFundMe out. It's got kind of like the story, our history, how we were going to launch space shuttles from California and stuff like that. But let's get back to
the flight termination
the launch.
system is armed, and we are in
Dragon,
countdown.
SpaceX, go for launch.
Seconds.
Go for launch.
Dragon copy.
40 seconds.
Let's go. crew reports go, now
T-minus 30 seconds.
about 30 seconds away from liftoff.
Fifteen seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engines full power.
And liftoff.
And liftoff of NASA Crew 8. Go Falcon, go SpaceX, and go NASA.
Woo!
One Alpha.
Endeavour ascends, a beacon of human ambition. 1.7 million pounds of thrust now propelling
Endeavour,
Falcon
yeah, it
9
was
Crew
named
8.
after
Vehicle is pitching down range.
the last space shuttle built. Some say the best, but it was the more modern space shuttle. So I'm sure she performed really well after all that experience building several others space shuttles. And as some of you know, our father built space shuttle flight computers at IBM Owego in New York after launching the last Skylab mission for he transferred from Florida to New York in the middle of winter, and
Falcon 9
I had to learn
engines
what
now throttling
snow
down to
was
help
and
pass
snow
through the
boots
period of
and
maximum dynamic pressure.
snow pants.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Stage 1 throttle up.
One Bravo.
So with that call out,
1 Bravo.
Copy 1 Bravo.
we know that Falcon 9 is throttling back up, and that one call out for 1 Bravo means that we are in the second and final abort mode for the first stage, continuing to get good performance from Falcon 9. Now at this
Effect,
point,
still
the
head
crew
start.
are already pulling over 2 Gs. And with that call out, we know that
It's always
the
nice to
engine
see
chill
these
for
this
MVAC,
many
which is our
launches
second
just
stage
work
engine, has now also begun.
over and over and
That
over.
also means we have a couple of events that are going to happen
Never
in
get
rapid
confident, though.
succession. First is that chill on the MVAC engine, and then
Make every
we'll have
launch
main
like the
engine
first
cutoff
launch,
for MECO, where the 9
safety-wise.
engines on the first stage of Falcon 9 will cut off ahead of first and second stage separation.
This is my favorite point
The
of
Merlin
launch when it
vacuum
turns
engine
red.
on the
Ah,
second stage will ignite
it's gonna look
and
at this
carry
turning
the
red.
Crew 8 astronauts to orbit, while the first stage begins its journey back to Earth. At this point in the flight, the 9 Merlin
Stage 1
engines
throttle
are
down.
starting to throttle down, and we're standing. There's that call out for throttle down, and we're standing by for MECO.
Just about ready for stage set.
Nico.
Stage separation confirmed.
Awesome.
MVAC ignition.
Everybody always loves this part because it's the most critical part of the launch. Once you're kind of clear of the majority of the atmosphere, it gets easy.
So those incredible views on
So
your
far.
screen, and of course the cheering behind me means that we have had successful
Here
main
comes the
engine
boost back.
cutoff,
Look at
stage
this.
separation, and ignition of our MVAC engine on board stage 2. We are also in 2 Alpha for the aborts if needed. Of course, that second stage is being illuminated on the right-hand side of your screen by our single Merlin vacuum engine on board stage 2. Now, the next milestone we're tracking is the stage 1 boost back burn on the left-hand
It's
side
kind of
of your
cool that
screen.
when they do launches for ISS that they can
And we
actually
are
do the
expecting
boost back
completion of that burn
to
in just
Florida
about
itself
10
rather than
seconds.
landing it on a barge in the middle of the water.
And so Crew 8 is now traveling at over 4,000 miles per hour. We're continuing to get good call outs, everything going really smoothly today. That second stage.
So
will
we're
continue
waiting for
firing
the
until
next
we reach
big
about
deal,
8
which
minutes
is
into the flight.
Dragon SpaceX.
SECO and also landing. Let's jump back to the
Good
GoFundMe.
performance on
There's
the
a few more
lone
things I'd like to
Merlin
show you.
vacuum engine on the second stage.
So on the
crew's
GoFundMe
G-load dips right when
campaign,
we hit the
there's
separation
quite a
event,
history
and
of
it's
our
going to
family,
continue to build up now.
things that we worked
And we
on,
just
things
heard
we
another call out for
we're
nominal
going to work
trajectory.
on,
That was the
had,
guidance,
like
navigation,
the
and
Challenger
control
accident
officer,
not
stating
happened,
nominal
and
trajectory or everything is
other
looking
events,
good. Dragon
career-changing
is pointed in the
events.
right direction, continuing its
but,
flight uphill.
So it's a good story.
This second
Tells you
stage will
what
continue
Firing
to
Room 1 is
fire
going to be doing in
until a
terms
little over
of
8 minutes into the flight,
the
accelerating
podcast,
Dragon to more than 17,000 miles
delivering
per hour and placing the
content
crew
with
in
some
orbit
I'll call it new science, but it's really old science to us. It's just when science is censored, it's sometimes hard to know the difference between new science and old science, because your new science is our old science. Let's just put it that way. Mostly regarding the electromagnetic field and what it actually is and what it actually isn't. And you'll find that very interesting. But in terms of NASA, IBM history, we're going to be transferring our father's Super 8 millimeter here at Eastman. This is one of their machines that they have in their preservation lab. And then we are also going to be transferring all these slides, and these are some other examples of the rollout of Apollo 17, which is one of the more beautiful rollouts because it was a nice, beautiful day. And also we get into the type of content that we're going to be creating, and after all of the digital transfer for the Super 8 millimeter film and the 500 or plus color slides, they're going to be like color corrected and graded, and especially the film, and then they're going to be made publicly available for download, in most cases for free. And especially the film. There's not too many films that were made of Skylab 1 and 2 and Apollo 16 or 17 because the media sites turned over to color TV cameras, and there's no really good film of those launches. So even though this is only an 8 millimeter film, I think that from my recollection of the launches were pretty good, especially Apollo 17. You can see the sound waves traveling at the speed of sound away from the launch pad on the Super 8 footage, just like you can on other footage that you've seen of Apollo 17. Probably the most beautiful Apollo launch. My favorite one, though, is Skylab 1, because it's the one launch our father was actually with us on base as a family in the NASA Causeway filming the Skylab 1 launch, because he was on the launch team for Skylab 2, which was 3 days later. But it ended up being 2 days or 2 weeks later. But we get into some physics, like what photons really are, like once you understand what the electromagnetic field is, things like why cosmic redshift occurs, which is just photons losing momentum. They're with a natural process, and it's Hawking radiation or Hawking evaporation. It doesn't just affect dark stars or black holes, which are made of crushed standard particles into quantum superfluid, but particles themselves are made of quantum superfluid, so they all exhibit the same type of evaporation that Hawking predicted for dark stars. Because black holes aren't holes, they're just dark stars. Really dense dark stars. Got some other launch reactions on here just to give you some examples of where we're heading, and some history about my father. And we'll be adding some other history about what we've done in terms of our careers and engineering and building electronics for some of our aircraft in the military and Boeing. So there's some other good stuff we're going to be covering on the podcasts as we start making them. But this SECO is about to happen, and we're going to be ending our broadcast soon because I am currently looking for a new location to move the office to, and that's what the last part of the fundraiser is for, is trying to find a commercial grade, not trying to find, there are several available commercial grade sound studios in Rochester to move our studio in so we have enough room for employees and guests. Currently, what you see is what you get, and it's been hard to coordinate interviews and having guests in for the podcast, so it's just been podcast one But
first
we're going to
time.
change that here shortly.
So
And
again,
these guys
we'll
are
continue to coast for these few
about
minutes after
to-
that second stage just shut down. This helps
They're about
allow
to
rates
launch
in
their
motion to settle out.
zero gravity
There are actually
indicator.
small reaction thrusters on the upper part of the second stage that can be used to
Come on,
counteract
where
any
is it?
residual motion. Basically,
kick
making
in
sure
here
that
until
we're
the-
in a stable coast before Dragon separates from Falcon.
Well,
We
actually,
expect
while
that
we're waiting for
separation
that,
here
why
to
don't we
occur at about the 12-minute mark into
give you
the
a sneak
flight.
peek at our
So
webpage that
again,
we're
we did
currently
hear that the
working
crew
on.
has been successfully
And,
inserted into a good orbit.
So this is
the
it.
crew
I
in
mean, it's not
microgravity,
it.
three
It's,
of them
it's
for
going to
the
look
very
different than this,
first
but
time. All good
it's a
callouts.
landing page, and if you go into the store, you can go through and look at the different departments. And I really like coffee, so we have a mug department and a mug aisle, and we have solar eclipse mugs, and not just solar eclipse mugs, but we also have other kinds of mugs. This site
right
is
now,
currently
the second
under
stage is
development
performing a
and
series
under
of checkouts as
construction
we
and
prepare
not
to
currently
separate
available,
Dragon
but
from stage 2.
soon you should be able to go in and like look at all the products.
And so
A
we will
lot of
see that
mugs.
separation coming up in just a
And,
couple of minutes.
you know,
After which a
and the
number
occasional,
of activation checkouts occur automatically. First, we'll be checking out 12
we had
of the
to,
Draco maneuvering
know.
thrusters all
So,
around the service section of the Dragon spacecraft.
There's that.
And then we'll
You
also
can
begin
also
to get
follow
ready for
Firing
nose
Room
cone
1
opening.
and
Nose
current
cone
news on
stays
our
closed for the flight
Facebook
uphill
page.
to help protect all of those guidance, navigation, and
This
control
is the
sensors.
Enterprise at Slick 6
It
in
also
California.
covers 4 of the Draco
If
thrusters
you've
that
never
will
seen
be
it
used
before,
for the
it's a
majority
place I was
of the
supposed to
different
work,
phase
had Challenger,
burns
not Explorer.
requiring Dragon
It
to
was
catch
a
up to the International Space
Air Force
Station.
base that was going to launch
So we are standing
SDI
by
Star
for
Wars
Dragon
weapons in
separation
the
to
LEO
occur
for
here
testing.
in just about 30
And
seconds
we have a
from
lot of
now.
episodes planned on discussing Star Wars tech from the
Of course, the view you have
1980s
right
and
now on your screen.
1990s,
Oh,
which
actually, now that our view has
you've
transitioned,
seen
you're
on the
getting a
news.
great view of Dragon's heat
Should be
shield.
of no surprise.
This camera is on top of
But
stage
the
2
weapons
and
from the
looking
Star
up
Wars
into Dragon's
program were
trunk.
supposed to intercept nuclear warheads in LEO heading towards the United States and take them out. And so they fly very well on electromagnetic
So if
fields
you're
alone.
just joining us this evening,
You
we
can
had a
also
successful launch of
follow
Crew
us
8.
on our
They're
Twitter
on their way to
page,
the International Space Station. The first stage has already
and,
returned to Earth
where we
and
get to
landed
at least,
successfully,
you know,
and the second stage has shut down and
not
we're
worry about
awaiting
censorship
separation,
so
and you
much.
see it on your screen
And right on the
there.
top, I actually have another reminder about the GoFundMe page and also who's going to be doing the work, such as Eastman Kodak.
And Endeavour now flying free.
This is a link to their
Dragon SpaceX, this is your launch chief engineer.
Go ahead.
Welcome to orbit.
Eastman Kodak site, so you can
It
kind of
really
look
is our
at
greatest honor
their
for you to trust us
services
to
and what they
launch
can
you into
offer,
space. It's been a pleasure
their
working with
equipment
you,
that they
and
have
we trust that all
for
the science and
transferring
work you're about to do
film.
will continue to move humanity further towards the stars.
And
We hope you enjoyed the ride, and thank you for flying on Falcon 9. Please send our regards to Crew 7, and make sure to remind them you just wanted to be fashionably late. I'll hand it off to the launch director for a few words.
Dragon LD, hope the ride was as awesome as a Cybertruck. Have a safe journey to the space station, and we look forward to seeing you when you get home. Thank you for flying SpaceX.
awesome. Thank you for flying SpaceX. I like it. Anyway, well, that's going to be it. They cut the feed off.
SpaceX, oh my goodness. What an incredible ride to orbit.
Cool.
I'm both glad and not glad.
I'll
that
see you
we
next time.
don't have a